yeah, something very crucial in terms of uh, career success. I mean, there is that one thing that kind of summarizes everything.
You should be
Or
good at doing that thing.
absolutely, ma'am. I know it's such a simple answer, but I'm just going to dwell on that a little more. I would say bottom line is performance, because finally, whatever career you choose, I mean, you may decide to become a cricketer, or you may decide to become an actor, or you may decide to become a chartered accountant, whatever one wants to do. Finally, it boils down to performance. And that is something that a lot of us kind of miss it out, because I see a whole lot of children taking decisions on mujhe ye acha lagta hai, so I like biology, so I'm contemplating medicine, or I like maths and therefore engineering, and things like that. And let me tell you, day in day out I keep getting students. I mean, just the other day I got a call from a father who was saying that when my daughter was in the 10th standard, she wanted to be a pilot. And when she went into the 11th standard, she had a very good physics teacher, tuition teacher. Then she said, no, I love physics now, so I want to do something in the area of physics. And then by the time she went into the 12th standard, she said that I'm not too sure about physics. So then there was complete confusion, and father was saying, now though we are in 12th, exam is after a few months, and she's wondering what is to be done. So this is a very typical thing that happens with youngsters, because from the age group of, yeah, I mean, from 8 to 12, they are hardly what, not even I mean, at the upper limit 17 or 18 years old. And if you are, when you are choosing your ICSE subjects in the ninth, or your IGCSE subjects, you are 13, 14, 15, 17-year old. So obviously your likes and dislikes are limited to what you are exposed to. I mean, you have whatever you've seen. So there's a whole world that you have not seen. So आज मुझे कुछ अच्छा लगता है because my chemistry teacher taught me good, well, so I think chemistry. And tomorrow suddenly the maths teacher changes, and I feel, oh, maths is what. I mean, today's session, I'm saying, today I had a counseling session in the afternoon, and this boy from Mumbai, he was saying that his mom was saying that till the 8th grade, he used to get about, you will not believe this, but 40% marks in maths. And from the ninth grade, he started getting almost 90 plus. And that was because of change in teacher, and from hating maths, liking maths. No, these things happen. And therefore, likes are very fleeting. So one thing that I would really like to say, I mean, this session is about how to choose a career. So one of the strong messages that I would like to like to give you all is that, most of us would look at, this is what my child likes, or this is what, if you're a child, that this is what I like. But liking comes a little later, and I'm going to tell you when liking comes. So first, just watch out, look at that filter, don't fall for the trap. I mean, I get the kind of students I get, you will be surprised, 2 years into medicine, and the student, I mean, the child just tells her parents that I no longer want to continue medicine because it was a wrong career choice. 3 years into hotel management, and instead of completing, the boy raises his hand and says that, I've not even cleared my second year because and frustration and all of that. So what I'm trying to say is that before 12th, it is important to really, and why this happens is because, I mean, see, this boy actually cracked the CET of hotel management and got into one of the best colleges in India. So if you look at catering college at Dadar, Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology at Dadar, and one is at Delhi. I mean, there are many, but these two are supposed to be in the top two in the country. And he got into the one at Mumbai, and he cracked the entrance examination. So obviously, the common sense would say that okay, he's fit for that career. But then he was basically, when we analyzed him and talked to him and did his assessment and all of that, we realized that the boy is a great designer. His mindset is designing, whereas a hospitality career is all about customer service and interacting with people and clients, etc. And a designer is all about going inwards and coming out with imaginative designs. Completely different skill sets, behavioral skill sets required. So while your math or English or logical reasoning ability is at whatever level it is, and you crack the entrance, but your behavioral thinking and capacity and competency, behavioral competency plays a very vital role. And that is why these kind of misfits happen. So therefore, the stakes are very high. So one strong message, I say strong message because I have right now given up my corporate jobs and other jobs, and I was also into an IT startup and all of that. And I'm really focusing on this because I have gone through a lot of 8 years, like I was telling you, all to find what I want to do. So I really want to spread this work and talk to more and more parents and students and tell them that don't do the mistakes that a lot of us made and we probably got away, but in your generation things are more competitive. So yeah, so therefore so don't go by likes. So we will look at what about likes a little in a while, but so just watch out. That's number one. Number two is I also come across a lot of students, even today people say scope kahan pe jada hai, where is more scope, etc. Now I am going to in today's session cover a small module on the change in the world of work. And the change in the world of work is so drastic that today it's very difficult to predict scope. But at the same time, there are some areas which are expected to definitely do well. But the thing is, again there I'll give you very simple statistics. If you look at which is the industry in the last year which offered maximum jobs in the formal sector. So formal sector, which is the corporate sector, the multinational, the formal work environment. So the number of jobs which were offered by any sector, the highest number of jobs were offered by the IT sector last year. Now, therefore, question is, because the number of jobs were highest in the IT sector, does it mean that every other boy or girl should do IT? Definitely not, because IT has, like any other career, I'm going to show you some slides and some content. The way IT is moving is in a very different way from what it was moving, let's say 20 years, 15 years back. So because at that point of time, there was a lot of IT services that were booming. And even if one were reasonably okay in IT, you could still have a great career. But in today's scenario, a lot of programming has got automated. And because a lot of programming has got automated, all the smaller or the simpler programming which used to happen, which used to be done manually by engineers, is happening automatically. And it's only the complicated programming that is right now being done by engineers, etc. So you have to be really good in the subject. So again, don't go merely by the scope is what I want to say. So that's another pitfall. So I'm going to show you some slides, and then so I'll keep flip-flopping between showing some slides and having an interaction. So that's what we'll do. So is there any question so far on whatever we have spoken? Anyone wants to ask anything? All right, so let me just share my screen and show you some slides. Yeah, so can you all see clearly? Because I can see, I see a little bit of a, yeah. So I'm going to skip some slides because there's a, I would also like to adhere to the timeline. So some of the things I may skip. Uh, yeah, all right. Okay, okay. All right. Okay, this is again a small quiz, for you all. Can you just answer this quiz, or you'll have to just say, shout out, just unmute. If you want to climb a mountain, what is most important? Anyone wants to take a guess? Yeah, anyone? What is most important if you want to climb a mountain? Is it equipment that is important? Are the weather conditions most important? Teamwork, rigorous training, or none of these?
I think none
Weather,
of this.
Rigorous training.
Rigorous training and none of these.
Weather
Okay.
conditions.
weather
It
Weather
is.
conditions.
conditions. Yes, weather conditions. All these are important. But someone who said none of these, I would like to ask you.
Yeah. So I think it is more mental preparedness rather than these things. Like mentally, if you are prepared, you can lot more
Wonderful.
achieve.
Yeah. Right, right. That's also absolutely true, mental preparedness. But I would say something before that. The most important thing is to have a mountain itself. Because if you don't have a mountain, then you cannot climb anything. And having a mountain is like having a, so So a lot of us, a lot of children, there is no clear goal. And I know it's very difficult to have a goal, but it is important to have some goal, because when you have some goal, then you will take steps accordingly. Like, I will just give you a very simple example of how a mountain helps. Now, that mountain may be right or wrong, in the sense it may not be perfect, because again, I'm saying it evolves. Like, I'll give you an example of this girl who was from Northeast, and she was studying in Pune. And I was talking to her. I was asking her, "What do you want to do after?" She wanted some inputs on what on careers after graduation. So I was asking her, "What do you want to do?" So she said that, "I want to build a school in North, in my village." So I said, I mean, that's how come? I mean, what gave you that idea that? And she was hardly what, 19, 20. So she was saying, I want to build a school in my village. So I said, why do you want to do that? I mean, isn't it a tough task? So she said that, see, in my village, my school was 8 kilometers away from my village. And typically in my village, girls after the fourth or the fifth standard, they are not encouraged by their parents to go and study, because they prefer that, if it's a boy, then the boy travels 8 kilometers alone. I mean, alone as in groups. But a girl, normally they would have to accompany, and they feel that, it is better that the girl works at home or whatever. And therefore, girls are not encouraged to do education just because the distance. So if I get a school in my village, then girls will be able to study. And therefore, she said, I mean, she was linking it to an MBA. She was saying that, therefore, I want to do an MBA and all of that. But the whole point is, I mean, that's the mountain that we are talking about. And therefore, it is important that when we are talking to our children as parents, it is also, see, many times we talk to children about, "Are padhai karo, study, ye, wo," all of that we talk. But I don't know how many times we really talk with our children in terms of, what's your dream? What do you want to do in life? Do you want to, how do you want to contribute in this world? I think these conversations help in identifying whether there is that mountain or some long-term goal for the child. So I would encourage all parents to engage in these kind of conversations also, so that, if a child says that, I want to develop I mean, there is one company in Mumbai where he's an engineer but passionate about creating furniture and equipment for the physically challenged. So he's saying that, I am going to use my engineering talent so that the physically challenged would have a easier life. Now, if that's the kind of a goal or a passion that an engineer has, आपको फिर बोलना नहीं पड़ेगा कि पढ़ाई करो, ये करो, वो करो, because the boy is coming with a very different goal. So my suggestion to you all, and I find it lacking, is that, it is a good idea to have these kind of conversations with our children. Then you don't have to tell them to study and all. They will study because of that motivation for the growth. So let's move on further. I was talking about it. We go by scope, or how do we choose a career, peer pressure, herd mentality, all of that. So I'm just going, I was talking about this likes also. Yeah. So most of us, So we, yeah.
career
Ma
goal.
Madhu, ma'am, can you be on mute, please? Yeah, thank you. All right. So we discussed about it. I'm going to give an example again here.
Choose
Yeah.
a career.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm going to give one example here about this likes. Again, one more example I'm going to give. So there is a very well-known university. I'm not going to name this, but there is a well-known university in Pune, and they have a course in marine engineering. And one of the HODs was talking to me about last year. He was saying that from our marine engineering, there is a whole batch of students, out of which almost 30 to 40% of the students are looking at, I mean, they've just completed their marine engineering a year back, and right now they are on the ship or wherever they are all working. And about 30 to 40% of the students are looking at coming out of that line. So I was kind of shocked, and I was saying, why is that? Why should 30 to 40% of students who are already in a job in marine engineering want to come out of that line? And you know what he said, I mean, this answer will really give the point, how about how we choose the careers. See, children get influenced by glamour, even we get. So money, glamour, etc. We get carried away. So you're saying that a lot in the marine engineering in the past was associated with traveling all across the world. सो अगर आप मरीन इंजीनियर बन जाओगे तो फिर आप पूरा दुनिया घूमोगे एंड देन यू ट्रैवल टू वेरियस पोर्ट्स एक्सेट्रा एंड देन you buy a lot of stuff from outside and things like that. So there are a lot of students who even today feel the same, that marine engineering means, of course, I'll be traveling across the world, and there's a lot of glamour here. Whereas if you see the reality now in terms of the increased productivity requirements of the transportation logistics companies and shipping companies, today there are times when the ship gets docked and the people out there are not even getting enough of time to just go out and come. At best they may just go out for a dinner and or a lunch and come back. तो सिटी में घूमना तो दूर की बात है, बट यू आर हार्डली गेटिंग एनी टाइम. यू मे नॉट इवन स्टेप योर फुट ऑन टू दैट सॉइल. यू मे जस्ट कम रिटर्न फ्रॉम द शिप. सो दे आर फीलिंग ट्रैप्ड. सो एक ग्लैमर था मरीन इंजीनियरिंग का, ग्लैमर वो चला गया, वो था नहीं, तो दे वांट टू कम आउट ऑफ इट. या सो राइट. So yeah, so that's the point that I'm talking about. So do not get carried away is what I'm saying. So that leads to confusion. And career, yeah, your career is, yeah. So I'm now going to talk about so if you should not be choosing based on glamour and all of that, then how do you choose? It's a very simple thing. So let me ask you a very simple thing. You can see on the left hand side of fox and the right hand side you can see a hedgehog. Now, if I ask you this question, what is better? I mean, if I ask you to choose, what would you like to be, a fox or a hedgehog? What would be your answers? Again, I'm just inviting you all to share. Yeah. If I give you a choice, would you like to be a fox or a hedgehog? What would be your answer? Yeah, in the meanwhile, there is a chat message. I can see that, hope you will explain how you assess step by step what a child is good at during the session. Yeah, I will definitely cover that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So please go on. What would you like to be, fox or hedgehog? Yeah, we can always have some fun. We can answer. We need not. Yeah, hedgehog. Okay, someone says, yeah. So Mr. Hariom Tadreja says hedgehog. So, yeah, can you tell us why you would like to be a hedgehog? Yeah, Mansi Gandhi says fox. So, Mr. Hariom, yeah. So whoever has typed, you can just unmute and just tell us why you want to be a fox or a hedgehog.
Sir, I want. Okay.
Yeah. Carry on, Ruchi. Yeah.
No, I would like to be a fox because fox is quite clever and can adapt to any situation. Whereas hedgehog is he this animal has a kind of quality to be in a very solitaire state. Likes to be alone. This animal needs its own space. So I
Right.
would like to be a fox. I want to be more flexible.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now someone say, Hariom sir, you want to just give it a shot. Why is it that you would like to be a hedgehog?
A hedgehog. I want to be a hedgehog because it has a very different quality. Um, See, very quality is that it can roll up in a ball and it can actually protect itself from enemies. One thing it has got on top, of course, it's if the animal does try to attack it, it'll actually get injured because of the top on top.
Brilliant. I think, both the answers are good, but I would say I would tend to go more with Mr. Hariom, because see, I mean, this is a very it's a very interesting management concept, by Mr. Jim Collins, who is supposed to be one of the topmost management gurus, thinkers of this century. And he's actually got a concept for called Fox, the hedgehog concept. So this is basically a Greek parable which says that, like Ruchi ma'am said very nicely, that a fox has got many skills, and the fox looks good and intelligent and all of that, and fast and things like that, graceful. But at every time a fox tries to catch the hedgehog, like Hariom ji said, it just comes back with a pricked nose because of those thing. It gets hurt because the hedgehog knows one thing. It is not very multi-skilled, but it knows one thing. It knows it so well that it is able to protect itself and recoil itself inside and protect itself from the fox. And therefore, it's given a chance, a hedgehog will survive better than a fox. That's what they say. So they say that as or even organizations can be like that, and individuals also can be like a fox or a hedgehog. Now when the going gets easy, at that point of time one tends to believe that the fox will do better because the going is easy. But when the going gets tough, at that point of time, it is the hedgehogs who are able to survive, and then who are able to thrive later on. I mean, there are a lot of companies which come out of recession. So those are the hedgehogs which can do probably one or two things, but they do it so well that they are able to survive and thrive. So the point here, what is the application for from a career counseling perspective, is that whatever career that we are choosing, it is important to identify what are we good at, our capabilities, and build the capabilities in a way that we are absolutely masters in that domain. So that needs to be the approach. So whatever career you choose, and therefore, I'll just go to the next slide. There is a hedgehog concept which I will like to explain to you all. Some of you might be aware of this concept. So the hedgehog concept says that when you are choosing the career, so you can see a circle at the top, a circle on the left hand side, and a circle on the right hand side. Now the first thing that one should be doing, so those who are parents right now, what I would encourage you to do is look at the left hand side bottom circle first. What can you be the best in the world at? What can your child be the best in the world at? Now that is the first thing to be understood and discussed and probed and introspected. So, for example, is your child, if your child, before, I mean, your child may say, I want to do engineering, but if you find that the child's drawing is very good, craft is very good, sculpting is very good, origami is very good. I mean, in our times, we thought, what are the careers in drawing and craft? But today, you have an institution called the NID, National Institute of Design at Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, and Bangalore. And this institution offers one of the best bachelor's in design and master's in design programs in the world, I can say. I mean, they are that good. And so you may have that keen sense and competency of a designer, and probably you may become an average engineer, but you could become a world famous designer, or at least nationally famous designer. So therefore, that is what I would encourage you all to do at. So first look at competencies. So you have two types of competencies. You've got a subject competency, and you've got a so subject competency is what? So suppose you want to find out a competence, most of the examinations today, if you look at the boards which are there in India, we've got a CBSE, ICSE, state boards, IGCSE, and IB boards. These are the five most common prevalent boards. And then, of course, you've got the American board, I mean, that is very exceptional cases. So if you look at most of these boards, then I would say, barring to an extent the IB board, and to some extent IGCSE board, most of the most of the boards are looking at, giving a lot of importance to how much you can remember and write in the examination. Yeah. So of course they are changing, but then they are, so therefore, you may score very well, but then whether you have a competency or not, I would say, can be determined more by the competitive examinations, like the maths olympiads, physics olympiads, English olympiads. So all these proficiency examinations. So if your child has been doing well in the proficiency examinations, then the competency is more proven than getting marks in the regular examinations, because they may or may not bring out the competency. They are definitely bringing out the ability to study that subject and get marks, but competency may or may not come depending upon the structure of the examination paper. So look at that, whether it is the competitive exam, like the National Talent Search, the Bombay Talent Search, or the elementary examination, the intermediate examinations for drawing. So these are the ways in which you can identify competencies of the child. So that's one way, which is the academic competency. Now, the other kind of competency that I would like to talk about is the behavioral competency. Now, what is that? So I will just give you a very simple example to make you all understand what is a behavioral competency. Now, all of us must have heard of this career called an actuarial scientist, right? An actuarial scientist. Anyone wants to, or let me just go ahead. So an actuarial scientist is someone who is basically in the insurance sector, and he or she works towards calculating, analyzing the risks associated for any insurance policy and calculating premium. So they actually calculate risks. They are called actuaries. Now, they may be employed to a great extent in the insurance sector or in other financial companies, or even for that matter, other corporates to some extent. Now, what is the most fundamental, does anyone know what is the most fundamental academic competency required for an actuarial scientist? Anyone? Anyone wants to make a guess? Calculating, analyzing risk.
Statistics.
Yes, ma'am. Right. Mathematics and statistics. You're right. Absolutely right. So mathematics and statistics is one of the major academic competencies required. You have to be really good at that for becoming an actual scientist. And there are, so there was this, again, I will try and give you real life cases so that it's a more practical discussion rather than a theory one. So there was this girl from Mumbai, and she had so her mom was saying that I want her to be an actuarial scientist and all that, and her maths is very good. I said let's just go through the process and figure it out, and her maths was really good, no doubt about it. But I did not recommend actuarial scientist for a simple reason, that I said that so I'll give you an example. Now, if you are an actuarial scientist, your maths has to be good. Okay, that is from a subject point of view. Now, so now there are different kinds of behavioral competencies on different parameters. Like one is in the way you take decisions, the way you think, the way your approach, etc. So one of the parameter is called macro thinking vis-a-vis attention to detail. Just one parameter I'm giving you. So a child which is good in macro thinking is able to visualize the bigger picture of things. So the bigger picture, the bigger story, a wider perspective. Whereas a child or an adult who is into attention for detail gets more and more into the micro picture, more and more into detailing. Now, if you are to be an actuarial scientist, then the calculations involved in risk analysis are very intense and minute. And there, someone with a very detail orientation or attention to detail will perform very well as an actuarial scientist. So you may clear the examinations and stuff like that. But from a performance point of view, which is finally what matters at the career, an actuarial scientist will be successful if she or he has that attention to detail as a behavioral competency vis-a-vis a macro thinking approach. And this particular girl that I was talking about had a macro thinking approach and a couple of other things matching that. So therefore, I explained to them that, see, I'm not saying she will not be able to clear the actual scientist examination. She may be able to do that. But somewhere during the process, or even when she starts working, why are so many people frustrated in their job? We know the realities is because there is some kind of a mismatch with us, like a square peg in a round hole and things like that. So I said that I explained this concept to them and they understood it. And I said that she is better off that she gets into something which is, I could see that she would become a very good into business management. I mean, I thought that was better for her. So that's the point. What I'm saying is, so what can you be the best in the world as is about your academic competencies and behavioral competencies. So engage your child and try and identify. So I'll give certain areas of in what areas you have to try and find out these competencies. So one area is like I was telling you, is visual art. So visual art is about drawing, painting, even smartphone photography and things like that. All that comes under visual art. Then you have performing art, which is very simple to understand, which is theater, dance, dramatics and all of that, musical instrument and all of that. So that's performing art. Then you have something called as, it's called realistic competencies. I mean, I'll explain that. See, for example, careers where you have to work, which require you to work with your own hands. Now, I would say typically engineers, if you are a design, you may be a production engineer, design engineer, but but and you may be, obviously you will have, technicians and supervisors who will do the actual job. But by and large, it is good to have be an engineer if you are actually able to do things with your own hands. That kind of an acumen is required, so that you will be able to visualize the right kind of designing and the right kind of manufacturing activities. So an engineer, so typically someone who has got that acumen of using his hands would be a better engineer than someone who doesn't have. I'm again, there may be of course exceptions and all, but I'm just giving you some general guidelines. Then a surgeon has to have that competency of using hands. Yeah, so you have, two kinds of doctors. You've got someone who is a MD, who is more into diagnosis, and you've got a MS who is more into surgeon. Now, typically, how do admissions happen? They happen on marks. कि ये कॉलेज में MD मिला, ये कॉलेज में MS मिलता है, तो मेरे को ये कॉलेज में जाना है, KEM हॉस्पिटल में जो मिलता है, I will go. But the thing is, if you're going to be a dentist or if you're going to be a surgeon, you should have that capability, which is almost like an engineer's capability of using hands. फिर आप अच्छा काम करोगे वहां पे. लाइक बोलते हैं ना कि इन्होंने दांत निकाला तो कुछ समझा ही नहीं, और किसी ने दांत निकाला तो बहुत दुख रहा है, दोज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. So that is again so that's another area that's called, working with hands, kind of a dexterity, kind of a competency. Then you have one competency is, how far, you have an investigative mindset, ability to ask questions, ability to identify problems. That's your investigative mindset that is required for scientists. It is required for people who are into diagnosis. It is required for people who are into finding for my consultants who have to identify, how to identify faults in a process. So that's a very investigative competency. So ऐसे अलग अलग fields है. Then you have, social competencies, means, some children, अभी I know come across a child, नौवीं का लड़का है, but it really takes a lot of joy, and he's very good in teaching his cousin, who is in the 5th standard, और उसको बहुत मजा आता है और उसको सब समझता है, और वो लड़की को किसी का नहीं समझता है, ट्यूशन टीचर का, बट ये लड़के ने, ये भाई ने बताया तो समझता है. So he's got that social competency, interpersonal competencies. So therefore, academic and behavioral, इसका दोनों का combination, that is what will make you successful from a competency point of view. So I guess, for now, this should be a good food for thought for you all to, engage into right kind of conversations with your child. And those students who are there in the session, I'm sure you have understood what I'm saying. Now, once you are able to identify the competencies, then you map them with what you are passionate about. Abhi, passion is again a very misleading concept. Like people say, I'm passionate about cricket, but passionate about cricket, और मेरा को cricket ऐसा अच्छा आता है कि beyond gully cricket, मतलब I may spend 10 hours in a day playing cricket, but then if I do not go beyond playing gully cricket, then वो उसको passion नहीं बोलते, वो तो मतलब as a hobby is okay, मतलब time pass है वो. But passionate means you are probably, if you're passionate about cricket, you are going, you are practicing, you are developing your game, you are traveling 2, 3, 4 kilometer hours, whatever required, doing your practice. Like this MS Dhoni ka jo movie hai na, if you see that movie about how he was managing, you are doing everything, ensuring that, by hook or by crook, you are managing and working on it, and you are doing well. That is passion. So passion is about like, I mean, if I have to explain what is passion, मतलब आपको 4 घंटा, 5 घंटा, 6 घंटा, 7 घंटा, you may probably get physically tired, but mentally you are not tired. So that's passion. I mean, you can just do an activity. एक बार पेंट ब्रश हाथ में लिया, तो you're not hungry, you're not thirsty, nothing. I mean, that's passion. So that is what you have to identify. What is the passion? Some children, I say, they have a pattern, patriots. So NDA में अगर जाना है, तो you need to have that passion for the country. If you have to get into NDA, CDS, etc. If you want to be an IAS officer, you need to have passion for governance. मतलब कचरा देखता है तो गुस्सा आता है. There are boys and girls like that. रास्ते पे कचरा देख गुस्सा आता है. मतलब you want to do something for the society. Okay, the best thing, or you feel that farmers are committing suicides. तो क्या कर सकते हैं? How can we improve the agriculture of the country or the state, etc. All right, then you are thinking like an IAS officer who is a principal secretary of the agriculture department. So passion is far more than just एक चीज अच्छा लगता है और मैं खेलता हूँ. Are you really committed to work and do something about it? So एक बार आप यो मैप कीजिए कि competencies है, फिर passions है, and then you see whether there is a scope. अभी if you are going to be an IAS officer, obviously ठीक ठाक सैलरी रहता है, गुड पर्क्स रहता है, सो दैट विल ड्राइव योर इकोनॉमिक इंजन. इफ यू आर अ इन्वेंटर or a great designer and you are passionate about, let's say, creating something for physically challenged, my example, yeah, but it could be anything, then yes, as a designer today every company requires design, right from a mobile to a car to a simple pen or a कुछ भी a simple app, सब पे डिजाइन लगता है. So then, yeah, your economic engine will be driven. But there was a boy who was passionate. He said, I'm passionate about guitar. I said, very good. कैसा करोगे? तो ये करता है, ये करता है. All of that is fine. Then I said, घर. I only hardly 12th standard. So I said, ठीक है, fine. Passionate about guitar. मतलब, so ठीक है, parents are giving you money right now. But what will you do after you are guitaring? I mean, how will you feed yourself? How would it do you want to buy a house? Yes, I want to buy my own. पैसा कहाँ से आएगा फिर गिटार बजा बजा के आएगा क्या इतना? You may take guitar classes, you may take performances, you may. So मालूम नहीं. I mean, you may click, it may click, it may not click, and therefore then you. So what we recommended is that, okay, fine, you love guitaring, no problem. So you do guitaring, but along with that, if you are doing a course in music production and composition, now what happens is, I mean, now if you are into guitaring, you play, so you are a part of the band, or you do your performances, you do your YouTube channel, you do all of that. वहां से तुम्हारा हो गया career great, nothing like it. But parallelly, when you have a degree in music composition and music production, etc., then you are into the business of music. Then you are having a different perspective. You got an education. So that's how we try to suggest. I mean, that's how one has to try and move forward. That's how you use the hedgehog concept. So I think with this I will move ahead. Any further questions? Yeah, okay. Now, see, I am also going to give you all a few careers. I mean, there's so many careers and all of that, but just a few of them I'm going to show, because this session, 1.5 hours, is actually very less for this session, but then, you cannot go on and on. So, see, this session is more about, I mean, I don't know whether it will give you any answers, but I'm sure this session, my objective is that at least you get more questions, the right kind of questions to ask yourself or your child in terms of finding the answers for those, because then you will end up taking the right one. I mean, I think I'm just keeping this. Yeah, I will give this case study to you. So this was a professional who was working in a very well-known corporate sector in India. And he was in the sales job. He was like a branch manager. And he had to be actually taken to a psychiatrist because he was facing a depression issue. And then the psychiatrist met him for 3 times. And at the end of it, just said that, his remedy is that you have to ask him to resign from the company. This sounds like a story, but it is a real one. Okay, so the psychiatrist said that, you have to ask him to resign from this company and allow him to do what he wants. And the parents said, "What? We don't know what he wants." And they said, he has been all the time saying that he loves maths. He wanted to be a maths teacher. So this boy wanted to be a maths teacher, and he was in a completely wrong profile in a sales manager's job, to an extent that he had to go for a psychiatric treatment. And fortunately, the psychiatrist gave a very good treatment, which is just saying that you change the profession, and he became a successful maths teacher, because that was what he was meant to do. He was very competent in that. So just one case study. So therefore, again, the point here is that he cleared the, in fact, he was an engineer. He cleared the engineering exam. He cleared the MBA entrance. So he clears all those things. So we feel that, okay, sab barabar ho raha hai. But competencies match nahi hua. He was not able to perform as a sales manager. And that gave him a lot of stress. That was the problem. So nothing wrong with him. This is, I think, on the lighter side, but this, I think, proves my favorite example. Most of you must have seen this movie, Amir Khan of Tare Zameen Pe and Amir Khan of Sarfarosh movie. Matlab, you may have two students, both of them very good in the same subject, etc. But behaviorally, if one is, he's the left-hand side is like a Kadak police officer, IPS officer. or a, at the right hand side is like a loving, caring teacher. So you may have the same subject competencies, but your behavioral competencies may make you either a great teacher or a great IPS officer. So this is just to, again, yeah. So just for you to understand. So, and this is really what I want to spread, that, go with the capability of the child. Don't just go by liking. It's the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. That is a competency. All right, we will move forward. I think we've done a lot of examples. All these people, if you see, they were extremely people say passion वगैरह वो सब ठीक है, fine. If you see, they were extremely competent in whatever they chose. That's the key for career success. Okay, let's move on. So I think I'm skipping these ones. Yeah, I think and therefore, I would say the first step, is, see, we normally go for this scheme, we normally go to step number 3, that, chalo, IIT ke liye prepare karenge, yeah, whatever that case may be. So we set a goal. But then, have you assessed yourself? I don't know. Have you explored various other career options? I don't know. Now, how will you do step 2? Only when you do step 1, because exploring career options, matlab there are infinite careers. वो infinite तो आप explore नहीं कर सकते. But if you know what you are best suited for, then explore career options to that extent. So if you go with this process, simple, steady process, your chances of taking a wrong decision are reduced to a great extent. I will still not say 0, but they are reduced to a great extent. And that much I can definitely tell you. Yeah, so I think this one I'm just skipping right now. Okay, let me see what is the time right now. 7:20. Okay, so I also want to give you all a lot of time to ask questions, etc. So just maybe I would take a few things out of this. Okay, let me just tell you a couple of things about this. Now, I don't know if you've heard of this word called VUCA. So the first module that I right now was just covering was about the fact that, it was about the fact that to go with what is the competency and the capability of the child. That's number 1. Identify what all careers are there as per the capability and the competency of the child. And then look at what is his passion, and then ask him or her to what is it that he likes. That's a better way than starting with liking. That is the message. Okay, now let me just look at the, yeah, I can see Ayanj. Okay, so let me just tell you a changing landscape of the careers and job. I don't think I will have time for all of that. Of course, I can go on and on, but then what we will do is we will end the session sharp at 8, and then I am available for whatever questions are there. So I can go whatever time you all want. That's not my problem. But since we have said 6:30 to 8, typically I would finish the session by 8 and then be available for questions. So if you want me to go back to the slides, I can do that after 8, whichever I have skipped. But I want to just tell you a couple of things which we may probably not be aware of. See, now, are you aware of this word called VUCA, VUCA? Anyone? VUCA, VUCA world? Because if you understand, then you will know the way careers were, the world of careers, what it was 15 years back and what it is today. And our children are going to be in our careers in the next 7 years, 6, 7 years, depending upon what they do right now, which standard they are in right now. So we are definitely in a VUCA world is what we have to know. But what is that world? Anyone? All right. So, yeah. So VUCA, V stands for volatile. U stands for uncertain, C stands for complex, and A stands for ambiguous. If you just Google VUCA world, you'll get a lot of content on the internet about. So we are in a volatile, complex world. Now, why has the world become volatile, complex suddenly? Anyone? There's only one culprit, and that is IT. And I'm saying it on the lighter side, of course. But IT has just changed business models. IT has, when IBM created a computer which would process and make agreements, legal agreements, standardized legal agreements, it started doing a lot of work that lawyers were doing. So lawyers do two kind of work. One is the basic work and one is the advanced work. So the entire basic agreement, standardized agreements, IBM Computer started doing it. And that's where was a signal that, IT automation. IT means automation, and automation means lots of jobs are getting automated. So if jobs are getting automated, something that we are doing today may not exist as a job profile after even 5 years. And therefore, it is a volatile, complex world. So, and IT discoveries and inventions are only going to increase, whether you or me like it or not. I mean, it's just going to increase. So, two things are happening. First of all, every day, whether it is Bangalore, Mumbai, North America, Canada, Silicon Valley, Singapore, or France, somewhere some IT invention is happening. That's number one. The other thing is, if you look at the communication technology today, we are all plugged in with a WhatsApp. Something that gets invented in France in 1 second reaches India and the rest of the world because on a WhatsApp. Which means not only are inventions happening so fast, but they are also getting spread across the world very fast, and therefore a large scale disruption is happening. So now, what are the implications of that? I will come to from a career planning perspective. So we've got to understand that our conventional mindset, which may be there, that okay, I'm doing medicine, I'm doing engineering, I'm doing CA. So we have to go beyond that, and I'll explain what is beyond that. Okay. Now I'm going to explain something interesting. Okay. Uh, See, generally, we should, by and large, try and keep our children away from technology in the younger years, and we have to control their mobile habits and all of that. Definitely, we have to do that. But having said that, uh, after you will see that something like metaverse. I don't know how many of you are aware of metaverse, and metaverse is actually known right now more for the wrong reasons. Like metaverse is like a virtual world where one is assuming a different avatar, and then it is known for cyberbullying and all of that. वो news में जल्दी wrong things come in the media very fast. बट मेटावर्स का अच्छा चीज जो है वो शायद पता नहीं विद मीडिया में है कि नहीं. बट आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल ऑफ व्हाई इज मेटावर्स इंपॉर्टेंट एंड इट्स implication for our children. Now, banking is one career that a lot of students aspire for, and banking is a large, in fact, BFSI, which is banking, financial services, and insurance, is the largest growing sector in the country. Now, so therefore, a lot of people get into banking industry. Now I'll give you an example. The banking is a very conventional industry. It used to be there in South Korea. There is South Korea is again technologically very advanced, and what they are doing is they are trying to catch clients who are young, like 20, 21, 22 year olds. So उन्होंने क्या किया है? उन्होंने ना metaverse में they have created a virtual banking experience, virtual bank branch. एंड दे आर एनकरेजिंग द यंगस्टर्स दैट आप हमारे ब्रांच में फिजिकली मत आ जाओ, मेटावर्स में आओ, देखो हमारा ब्रांच कैसा है, और फिर आप आके हमारे बैंक में अकाउंट ओपन कीजिए. आई मीन नाउ, सो दिस इज द ब्रेन चाइल्ड ऑफ द मार्केटिंग गाइज ऑफ that particular branch. What does that mean? That means that if our children are choosing, like a lot of children after 12th standard look at a BBA or a BMS. अभी आप BA और BMS अगर करते हो, so you should not only know what is metaverse, but you should also know how can metaverse be used for business. So these are the things, which are, so therefore I would say that one important skill that we have to encourage our children is ICT. It stands for Information and Communication Technology and Applications. Whether our children are going through arts or science or commerce, किधर भी जा रहे हो ना, तो भी उनको आईसीटी में जनरली हम क्या कहते हैं, आईसीटी जिसने पेपर लिया है वो पढ़ाई करता है, पेपर नहीं लिया है नहीं करता है, फाइन. बट फ्रॉम अ फ्यूचर पर्सपेक्टिव, आईसीटी चिल्ड्रन विल हैव टू नो अबाउट metaverse and artificial intelligence, basic, and therefore they will have to know all these things. Okay. Then secondly, I will tell you something about NFTs, so that it just you get the point that I am trying to make. Now, NFT, I don't know again how many of you are aware, it's called non-fungible tokens. So in short, मैं short में बताता हूँ इसको. NFT मतलब आज अगर बिटकॉइन सुना रहेगा शायद आपने, या when trading happens, how we trade using money. Okay, so we trade using money. Now, NFT मतलब क्या है? NFT is a non-fungible, मतलब it cannot be easily traded. And NFT means it is basically creating a piece of art and uploading it with using the blockchain technology. इसका मतलब ऐसा है कि tomorrow, I mean, if our children are, let's say, creative, but at the same time they are also having a mathematical bent of mind. So you may say that, okay, my child is very good in mathematics and science and programming, and therefore I would like him to be a data scientist. चलो ठीक है, मान लिया. तो वो data scientist तो बन रहा है. But your child is also a very good painter, or a child is very good in making films on mobile filmmaking में उसका अच्छा sense है. What you can actually do, or what he can actually do, is he can pursue a main career, which is जो भी है, data scientist है या programming है, computer science, whatever that career is, and the child can create a film or a painting on and can make an NFT out of it. Now, if the NFT is good, who knows? After 10 years, while a child is going ahead with his regular career, यहाँ पे virtual career में NFT might become, let's say, big amount of money, which is his creation. So you can actually fulfill your creative careers using the metaverse and NFT, etc. So you can actually have parallel careers, and that's the point that I'm going to come. That I'm going to make. So all the dots will join. But so therefore, a lot of the I would say that we are in an age of interdisciplinary careers. Interdisciplinary. I'll just explain this a little later. Okay, I'm skipping government policies. If you look, yeah, I'm skipping this. Okay, if you look at this point, I would like to cover choice-based credit system. If you look at any conventional university today, they are offering credit systems. Like my government engineering college where I studied. At that point of time, our professors would get extremely agitated if we would say that we want to do a business management or something like that. Today, that same college is offering an elective in filmmaking for engineering students, or an elective on environment science, etc. मतलब अलग-अलग चीजें. So interdisciplinary. So today, when we plan our careers, I'm going to come to that. It is not only going to be that what after what degree. It can be, see, today, as per the new education policy, you can have 2 degrees. So you can actually pursue 2 degrees simultaneously, which are connected. So you can do a computer science and math, connected degrees. You can do a math and economics. You can do statistics and economics. Like that, you can plan your career, because it's very competitive. And not that we have to be scared of competition, but whatever our unique strengths are, we play out. And therefore, we build our unique profiles by probably doing 2 parallel degrees or 1 degree and certification courses. वैसा हमको प्लान करना चाहिए हमारा careers. Yeah, I can see something in the chat. What is it? She keeps doing it. Okay, I'm just reading. There is a direct. I'll take the direct message a little later. Yeah, in the Q&A section. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you want to ask anything on VUCA world? So see, basically, just couple of points here I want to cover. We are in the emergence of gig economy. It has come. Now, if you know what is a gig economy, you can just type on the chat box. But otherwise, I will anyway explain what it is to you all. So gig economy is typically how how is a movie made. So a movie जैसा बनता है. So when a movie is made by, let's say, any director, like any director in the country, or anywhere in the world for that matter, he does not generate employment which is full time. He says that okay, I will employ so and so actor, so and so actress, so and so supporting actors, so and so sound designer, so and so production manager, so and so cinematographer, colorist. So they will gather a team for a project, complete the project, do the shooting, then do the post-production, do the editing, then do the marketing, then release the movie, and then it is over, disbanded. It's like almost like it's over. Then you have to start a next project. Now, a lot of Indian large companies, including the IT companies, which were giving full-fledged full-time jobs, are now moving towards giving project-based jobs. which is called gig economy, freelancing project based jobs. Our children are going to step into the world of work wherein the gig economy is going to be pretty strong. उसका मतलब क्या है? उसका मतलब है that they will have to continuously learn and continuously develop themselves. They cannot, I mean, just because ये career में scope है इसके लिए गया तो उधर काम नहीं होने वाला है. They have to really do well. And not only that, they may have, I'm very sure that all our children, when they start working, assuming they are right now in 8, 9, 11, 12, or even if you are right now in the graduation, or even if you are right now a 25-year-old, it is definitely going to be a given that you will have, I think most of you all will have multiple careers. It's not going to be one career. Okay, and therefore interdisciplinary. So I'm just going to interdisciplinary approach. I'm going to show this report. McKinsey is one of the topmost companies, consultancies in the world, which has said that, who has said that by 2030, you can just read this, 400 to 800 million jobs worldwide could be displaced by automation. And of those, almost 75 to 375 million will have to switch occupational categories. And therefore, I've just said that, मतलब उनको occupation ही change करना पड़ेगा. जैसा कि कोविड में हुआ है, lot of people have changed their occupations in COVID. But going forward, this is going to be a part and parcel. अभी तो फिलहाल वो तो कोविड था, but IT anyway उसका काम ऐसा ही कर रहा है. So therefore, new interdisciplinary career options. Today, you have a major and a minor. I mean, you have a university in Pune, like called Flame University, which is allowing you to do an economics with theater, or you can do any kind of combinations. Physics you can do, and along with that, you can take a social science subject like a psychology. So these kind of interdisciplinary career options is what will be required by our children going forward, and that's how we need to plan their education. That's what I'm saying. Today, the best example is IITs, which was basically only synonymous with engineering. All IITs have a humanities program, all of them, which is economics and psychology, etc. This is the biggest example of transformation. Okay, I'm just keeping this one. Yeah, but yeah, because I think, yeah, this one I want to show. So when we are planning our education for our children, see the kind of planning that we need to do now. We have to see, is my child going to do a 3-year graduation or a 4-year? Now, some of the degrees have been 4 years in India, like engineering or medicine is more than that. Architecture is 5 years, etc. But most of the commerce science degrees were 3 years. But now, from this year, the government is introducing 4-year graduation degrees, where the 4th year is about research. So you may have to say, okay, should I do a 3-year or 4-year? Or you can, of course, take that decision later also, but that choice is there. But the other thing that is there is after 12th, you have a lot of very good integrated programs. Like you have today, if you want to, let's say, get into careers in science, one of the best universities is IISER, IISER, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, which is in Mohali, Pune, etc. Now, after 12th itself, you are choosing a graduation and a post-graduation, 5 years, which is one of the best programs for science in the country. So, a choice has to be made by the 12th. And uska entrance is again the JEE exam. Similarly, you have there is a program in IIM Indore, which is an integrated program in management, undergraduation plus post-graduation, 5 years. And therefore, you will see that a lot of programs are there after the 12th, which are directly 5 years integrated program. And all this, now there is a 5-year law program for those children who want to get into law. The best programs are in national law schools in Bangalore, Hyderabad, even Mumbai. There is a government law college. And so these places, they have a 12 ke baad mein seedha 5 saal ka law programs. Now the catch is that all these highly prestigious programs, or NID I was talking about after 12th, their entrance is very competitive. And you will have to spend typically 1.5 years to prepare for the entrance examinations, which means after your 10th is over, as you take an admission for your college or school for your 11th and 12th, you may have to also sign in for some kind of a competitive entrance examination. Today, people only think about engineering, medicine, but there is competitive entrance for design, competitive entrance for law, competitive entrance for management, for hotel management, so many of them. And therefore, typically, I think, like within a month of completion of 10 standard examinations is the ideal time when our career is kind of planned after 12th, what we are going to do, so that we can do everything. We can prepare for the competitive exams in a very systematic manner. People say competitive exams are tough. My view is a little different. See, they may be tough, but most of the people don't do well because they are underprepared. पढ़ाई ही नहीं होती. And that's because they do not plan the studies from before and they delay it. तो पढ़ाई नहीं होती तो obviously tough होगा. ऊपर से tough तो रहते ही है, but पढ़ाई नहीं होती. That's a bigger reason. Okay, so there are, I mean, you can do 1 degree, 2 degrees, 1 degree, 1 online degree, certification. So they're beautiful. मतलब मेरे को लगता है ना, it's like a buffet now. You have a plate and वहाँ से कुछ dessert लिया, कुछ main course लिया, कुछ rice लिया. ऐसा करके, you have a very unique thali. Like that. You can, when you pass out of your graduation or post graduation, you may have a very unique. Like I was recommending one of my students. She's an environmental. Scientist, and I was recommending a filmmaking course for her. So her mother was like, why do you want to recommend a filmmaking course? So I said that this girl was very good in imagination, as well as she used to watch Discovery Channel, etc. So I found out that she loved documentaries and all that. So I said that, see, if you love environmental science and you love documentaries, how about you creating a documentary? Would you like that? She's really fascinating for me. So not like a main career, but by the side. So if you have to create a documentary, you have to understand filmmaking, right? So filmmaking does not mean that you are going to make a Bollywood movie. एक Instagram का 30 second का movie clip बनाना is also filmmaking. So there's a lot of beautiful opportunity for our children, is what I would say. So yeah, I'm just going to show you like a trailer, okay? Some options, because if I show you all, you will get kind of bored, and that's not the point. The point is just to open up your minds that, there are a lot of brilliant options which are there. Some you may be aware, some you may probably not be aware. So मैं थोड़ा scan करने वाला हूँ इसको. I mean, if you were to look at careers in sciences as a typical undergraduate, I will just talk about some of the new ones that have come. Okay, so careers in sciences. Okay, I'm sure all of you are aware that biotechnology is now common. Botany, chemistry, sabko malum hai. Okay, you've got life science and biochemistry, these kind of courses. Geology is a course for someone who loves exploration and all of that. So geology is there. Zoology, of course, I'm sure all of you will be aware of. Yeah, home science has got beautiful programs like textiles and fashion technology. Forensic science is a career. I mean, those of us who have that thing of using our scientific knowledge for investigation, crime investigation, etc. Government is making more and giving more and more importance to forensic science laboratories now, and they are intending to set up a laboratory in each and every district of the country, and a lot of forensic scientists would be in demand, जो कि आज नहीं है उतने. So that becomes an interesting option for those who have that kind of a bent of mind. Okay, then of course you got some brilliant Bachelor of Science programs in places like you've got a program like Earth and Environmental Science. Like normally when we talk about science, we talk about physics, chemistry, biology, but there is Earth and environment. Environment is big. A lot of climate change related courses have come up. So therefore, if you are studying environmental science, etc., that's one of the careers that's definitely going to be in demand. So these are some of them. I will just move on. I'm not covering, this is not exhaustive, so just some ones I'm covering so that you know that there is a lot more, and there are a lot more beyond what I'm showing you, by the way. Okay, now engineering, I'm just showing you a slide. Why? Because I want to just tell you all that generally when you talk about engineering, most of the students say IT, computers. Well, the world of engineering is far, far beyond. So you have, fibers and textile processing, it's one of the best programs in the country from ICT at Mumbai. Or you have naval architecture, ocean engineering, I mean, the trade and designing of ships, etc. And now, interestingly, I would like to show you all this one, dual degree in engineering. So BITS at Hyderabad has got very beautiful program. You can have a dual in engineering. depending upon how you score in the first year. Again, you see, we are talking of interdisciplinary. So dual engineering is a very interesting concept for someone who is looking at core engineering careers. I mean, you have a BTech in climate change, which is from Anand University. I mean, again, I have just given one universities as an example for you all. That's all. Otherwise, it's not that I'm recommending these or anything. But of course, standard ones are there. Aerospace is there, of course, in IITs. Then there is IISST, Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. I mean, there are children I've seen, they are fascinated by space and they want to study space engineering, etc. So you've got IISST at Trivandrum, which is the best programs for space engineering, etc. I mean, they have optical engineering and all of that. So these are some of the branches. I'm going to show you some more branches of engineering. Now, ceramic engineering. I don't know how many of you are aware that there is a branch of engineering called ceramic engineering in IT BHU. And by the way, there was a record that this particular department had, that these people, the whole of the country produced very few ceramic engineers till about a few years back. And whoever became a ceramic engineer became a multimillionaire a few years down the line, because they would all do an MS abroad, because there were very few engineers from ceramic background, and all of them would do an MS, and all of them would get worldwide great jobs. So it is important for us, if you are exploring engineering, to know that there is a huge world beyond IT and computers. That's what I wanted to say. Biology and engineering now is combined in certain cases. Anyway, so yeah. Then, health science. That's again an area where generally I find that, medicine nahi mila to kya karne ka frustration, aisa nahi hai. Bahut careers hai health sciences mein. So health sciences, I mean, medicine nahi mila to no problem. Dental. I mean, so today Ayurvedic, homeopathy, Unani, these are parallel systems. But if you see, the importance of Ayurveda is coming back. Yoga. I know of some very successful people who are practicing Ayurveda, yoga, like a combination therapies and all, and they are doing pretty well. It's not that they are any lesser or anything. So, I mean, if someone is more empathy oriented, because Ayurveda and homeopathy requires a lot of counseling of the patient. So if you are, more of that interpersonal competencies, etc., and you have that medical competencies, etc., then you could actually consider these options. I mean, people are thinking, some of the parents who are understanding this subject are actually saying that, I would prefer my child to become an Ayurvedic doctor than an MBBS doctor. But these are very small in percentage. But that's an interesting change happening. Then of course you've got physiotherapy. I mean, these are all great options today. Physiotherapy. आज हमारा posture इतना गलत होता है, तो so many of us require a physiotherapist for a neck pain or a back pain, and as a physiotherapist are doing a phenomenal job today. So they are there. Now you also have a lot of BSc programs like optometry and forensics and endoscopy, etc. So if you are interested in the health sector, अगर NEET by chance crack नहीं हुआ, MBBS में नहीं मिला, बहुत कुछ करने को है. Don't worry. मतलब options बहुत है. Just that sometimes we are limited in terms of our knowledge. So yeah, this is just pharmacy is of course there. So all of you would know about pharmacy. Architecture, you've got great programs. You've got 5-year programs in interior designing. So 5 years in urban designing. Some brilliant programs are there in India for architecture. If you have that competency of engineering combined with art, it's a great option, very good option. Yeah, then you have options like food technology, agriculture, biotechnology. I mean, I know I'm going a little fast right now. You may not remember, and idea is not that you have to remember all this. The idea is just to tell you that wow, the universe out there is huge. The medicine nahi mila to, see, I know of this couple of girls who are so passionate about animals and all. So if they were so passionate, मतलब कोई बिल्ली को ज्यादा दर्द हुआ तो उसको रोना आता था. No, what better than a veterinary scientist? You can do a bachelor's in veterinary science and be a veterinary. I mean, that would be a brilliant career for you. You get government jobs, and they do very well in the government. So, I mean, then, you have BTech in dairy. No one looks at BTech in dairy. But this BTech dairy technologies, they are very few in number in India, and they get all phenomenal place because most of them get into all these food companies. Some of the multinationals like Nestle and all these companies, they employ them. So बहुत सारे options there. Anyway, so I think the list can just go on and on. And so what I would want to do, okay, I'm going to let me show you some common options. Uh, let me show you some commerce ki couple of options. Achha, look at this one. This is a very interesting program. You know, it's a MSc in bioanalytics. So it's a interdisciplinary subject of biology where you have biology and physics and analytics covered in that program. So again, brilliant interdisciplinary program, which is after the 12th standard. Yeah, I think these are post graduations. This though I'm skipping right now. Let me skip this ones right now. Okay. Commerce, I'm going to tell you some of them which you may probably not be aware of. I mean, for example, you have BCom. Typically, economics was always like a humanities subject, or a few colleges had a BSc economics. But now you can do a BCom in economics, or you've got, of course, financial markets. Now, this BCom honors is actually preparing you for a CA syllabus. So if you want to be a chartered accountant or a cost accountant, etc., or a CFA, then it may be a good idea to do a BCom honors instead of a plain BCom, because your BCom honors is at a much higher level, and therefore you are gearing up better for these entrance exams. So just a couple of them I will, yeah, I don't know if you are aware of this, some of the professional options in commerce. Let me talk. So you have today, not many, I don't see many people asking me about these options. So I want to tell you all, I mean, you can be a financial risk manager. It's again a great option for those who are good in mathematics, risk related jobs, or, enterprise risk management certifications. These are great options. Or if you want to be a accountant internationally, then you can do, some of us would know about the CPA in the USA, but you also have a CPA in Canada, or a ACCA, which is for accounting options for the European countries. So if you are working in, let's say, one of the big four consultancies in India, like KPMG or Price Waterhouse, even in India, who's got foreign European clients, then they need your ACCA qualification will help there. So I cannot explain everything in details because the time is too short for that. But yeah, there's just some of them. I think MCOM, though, I'm skipping right now. BA Humanities, I mean, you can actually study ancient history. History is a great subject, by the way, for those of you who are planning to get into UPSC, IS, etc. Yeah, let me just, fine arts is a great career option that you can look at. Performing arts, you got degrees today, and then you have careers for all streams. I mean, just look at the amount of design undergraduations that you can do, right from communication design to industrial design, IT designs. It's mind blowing. I mean, like I was saying, you may think I'm going far. I cannot cover all this right now in such a short time. You've got so many careers. You've got hospitality, hotel administrations, of course. Law, you can do a law after 12th if you're very clear about law, and do an intensive law program like a BA LLB, or you can do a Bachelor of Legal Science and an LLB, so these are very intensive options. Or you do a you do law after your 3 years, in case you are not aware. And like today, cyber security laws, etc., it's corporate laws. These are all new age careers in law. Yeah, journalism and mass communication, one of the most booming careers, where the graduates of mass communication and journalism are required in all kinds of industries, right from digital marketing to marketing, publishing, television production, so many of them. Filmmaking graduations are there. So I think the list just goes on and on. So I'm kind of should stop, not covering all of them. I mean, I think I've covered the point that there are too many. I mean, professional makeup, today we've got some phenomenal courses. So let me just, teaching, of course, is a great option. I want to just, okay, let me, so there was a question. So I will just come to that slide now. So, I mean, yeah. So what I wanted to say is that there are so many options, and therefore such a lot of confusion, etc. And therefore, we believe that it is important to kind of pause, do some research, take some good advice if required, and take a very informed decision about what you want to do. That's what I personally believe very strongly. And therefore, of course, we are into this work. So The earlier the better. I think 8th, 9th, 10th is the best years. But then if you've not done that, do it as early as you can. If you're very sure about what you want to do, you can take a second opinion or you can just go ahead. But if you have the slightest of doubt, better to go in for a proper understanding. I mean, now that there are so many options and there are so many mix and matches, so just a little bit about us. I want to show you something. Yeah, I want to show you the steps that we use. I think that really. So what we do is, I'll tell you what we do. We find out the competencies and the passions. This was one question in the chat box, so I'm just answering that. We find out the competencies of and the passions of the child, and the constraints that the family may have. The constraints may be financial, or it may be geographical, or any other, right? So personal, right? So then we have a 6-step process. It's a very comprehensive one. So we have a proper in-depth conversation with the parent and the child to understand the competencies and the passions. And then we have a self-awareness activity where we give a longish form for the child to fill. So that helps us in doing the career analysis. It has got descriptive questions. And it also gives a SWOT analysis. It also helps the child to do some introspection herself or himself. And then we do a proper online competency. So these are the 3 sets of inputs that we take before we recommend, what is the right career. And we will give 2, 3, 4 recommendations and also tell you what is the best for your child from a performance point of view. And then, of course, there are 2 more steps involved in the process. So we do a pretty intensive one. That's what we do. And finally, before I close my session, I just want to give this slide. This is a bamboo tree. And I think, your years of 8 to 12 and then subsequently degree, I think the motivation for us can be a Chinese bamboo tree, because a Chinese bamboo, if you see, the tree, once it is planted, at the end of year 1, you don't see anything above the ground. At the end of year 2, you don't see anything above the ground. Aisa karte karte, for 5 years, you don't see anything above the ground. And just about in 3 months after the 5th year, which is in 90 days, the tree grows with a height of 100 feet. So 100 feet in 90 days. And लोगों को लगता है अरे miracle हो गया. But वो miracle, overnight miracle हो गया. Miracle नहीं है, नीचे जो soil है ना, उसमें there is a very complex, strong structure of roots. So 5 years, the tree has just built a foundation to create that tall bamboo tree. So I think personally, I feel whichever students are there or parents who are there, I think, your 8, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th and the graduation are like this, where you have to create this huge foundation by way of education, by way of skills, by way of habits, by way of good practices, and you prepare yourself so that once you start working, you are like a Chinese bamboo tree, just starts performing from the first year itself. So on this note, I would like to just end the session and say that, it went on for a little longer than what I had expected. So sorry about it. I mean, in terms of the time, we still have 2 more minutes to close. But I want to do a Q&A round right now. And those of you who are getting late and have to carry on, if you want to have a Q&A, we will see. I mean, maybe I can do a separate Q&A for you tomorrow. But if you are fine, I can go on and do all the Q&As that are there right now. So you can feel free to ask your questions. Yeah, Ayansh has raised hand. Yes.
Yeah. So my question is, from 8th standard, we have to select boards, either ICSE or CBSE. Till now, they have this common, their own curriculum. So, as of now, they haven't decided what they are going to pursue as a career. But what do you recommend? Which is more better, for competitive exams, or on which board should we opt for, from ICSE and CBSE?
See, broadly, the way, what I have studied and what I've seen is that, see, one good practice is always to come from the, we call it backward planning. Backward planning is, if you know what you want to do after 12th, then it becomes very easy to take your 11 subjects. And therefore, it becomes very easy to take your 8th standard, 9th standard subjects. That's one good philosophy to use. Now, because your CBSE is extremely strong when it comes to preparations for NEET and JEE, etc. So if you are looking at that career, which is engineering, medicine, etc., I would definitely recommend a CBSE. However, if your child is looking at humanities, and by the way, humanities careers today are very, very good. And if your child is showing inclination in that area, now ICSC has got far more intense work they do on ICSC curriculums. So then you can look at it from that perspective. And plus, so I would say broadly, that's one way to look at it. Now you also have international boards. So I'm just going a step beyond your question and saying that there are some children there are some parents rather who feel that after 12th itself, I want to send my child abroad. So if you want to send your child abroad, it could be for personal reasons or it could be whatever reasons. If that is the case, then a good idea is to shift your child into either the Cambridge board or the IB board, because then you are creating a profile in those 4 years which will be in sync with what is required after 12th. So therefore, my answer is what you want to do after 12th will dictate your subjects backwards. That's the best way, because then you are going in the right path. But broadly, I think I hope I have answered your question. The other
Thank
thing
you.
the other thing you can do is, when it comes to whether it is ICSE or CBSE, see, ICSE gives you choice. So where ICSE gives you a choice to select the subjects. Again, I would say, see, for example, sometimes ICT is a subject. A lot of children don't take that subject. But I would say that ICT is a very good subject from a future point of view. I mean, if you have that, I mean, we normally go by इसमें marks मिलते हैं, नहीं मिलते हैं. अभी marks वगैरह सब तो पढ़ाई करोगे तो मिलेंगे, वैसा problem नहीं. But ICT is a great subject to take, especially if it is going to revolve around, I mean, in computers by itself, it's a great subject to take. Now, the other thing is some of them give you a option of visual art or art and design. Now, art and design is an extremely intensive subject. But then if you want to get into bachelor's in design and things like that, you do yourself a whole lot of I mean, you really would gear up to a great extent. I mean, you will it will be like a sure shot admission after 12th. मतलब बाद में का काम आपने अभी कर दिया है बच्चे की, but lot of people will not take art and design because they feel कि बहुत मेहनत है उसमें. So that's how it is. So thank you. Some of you have given some nice encouraging words.
Thank you. And one more question I had was, currently integrated system is going on a lot. Like,
Yes.
whole you are switching to some classes and just you go to integrated system. So do you recommend this system till
Yeah.
10th standard or
After
like,
12th? After 10th,
yeah,
the
after-
integrated is happening from the 11th standard.
yeah, so I mean, we can see like from 6th standard onwards now the people have started doing this. So
I
is
know,
it
I know.
recommended?
No. So I will tell you my view on
Sir,
this.
I would like to add to that if the new education policy is going to be implemented and 11, 12 would become compulsory schooling, then how would this integrated come into picture? Because they have to attend school also.
Right. So now good. So these two questions go hand in hand. So first of all, I would like to tell you all one thing, that even before the new education policy was being discussed, there was already a lot of noise about the fact that integrated curriculum, the disadvantages of integrated curriculum. Let me put it that way, that the social skills of children are not getting developed and all of that. So that is already there, because the integrated curriculum actually is just making you focus towards those specific subjects. And with the new education policy, there is definitely a possibility that the whole system may not remain functional the way it is today, or that system may get modified, because that is also a very large system. Finally, a lot of lobbying and everything also happens. So there are all possibilities. That system may collapse, or the system may get modified, or the system may remain by some loopholes or some other ways. So let us come back to this. Now, integrated typically is a situation with respect to science, curriculums, science as an option. Now, I will give you some advantages of an integrated. Like, see, okay, now let me give you some. Okay, now it's a very delicate thing, okay, because I don't want to make a very stark. I will tell you the pros and cons of both. So the biggest advantage of integrated is that See, today children in the 11th, because of the social influence, social media, etc., the distractions are very high today. And because the distractions are very high, it is quite possible that a child gets into a college, and if the child gets distracted, then suddenly, the aspiration of a good education and a distraction, and there could be a little bit of an issue out there because the distractions actually are very high now compared to what it was 20 years back. But in an integrated, there is no distraction, is minimal because you just go there and then you study and then you come back. So in that sense, it's a big, big plus. The other thing is you save a lot of time because you are studying only once. You are not going and doing because even if you go to the college, you are still going to a class. So your time pressures are more manageable. So in that sense, you have a couple of advantages. But couple of other disadvantages I've seen is that some of the integrated institutions put a lot of pressure on the children, lot of pressure, because the pressure to with this weekly tests, and they are all competing fiercely in the open market. So weekly test, and every time you have to score, and I've seen children under a lot of pressure. So that's something that one has to watch out for. So it's a balance. So I would say that, this is a best. I would prefer to answer this on a one-on-one because it is about a big system which is prevalent, and there are pros and cons of both. So it's not like a singular correct answer. For some children, if you think your child has a discipline and the child is focused, etc., and reasonably disciplined, etc., you can do the college and you can do the classes. But if you feel that the distractions could be high, the child is probably not very good in time management, a lot of time on mobile, etc., then integrated could be better. So yeah, but the risk of the policies and all is definitely there. But there I'll tell you one thing: generally, if a children, even if the policy comes in, once a child is into that curriculum, the government is not going to stop the child midway. Like if they say that we are not going to allow it, whoever is already into that system, generally they will allow those children to clear that wealth, and they would not. They would implement it only for the next batch. That's what they normally do. Yeah. So you can tell me, yes, I think I can see two more hands are up. Yeah, no. Yeah. So Nikita, ma'am, you want to ask something? So Ayansh's mom, if you want, if it's clear, let me know. Otherwise, I can take it once again. Anything more required?
No.
The meanwhile,
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, thank you so much.
welcome, ma'am. Yeah, Nikita, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, my son, he is in 7th standard, and he'll be going in 8th standard now. Actually, sir, I'm confused because actually we belong to a very strong business family. And my son, his idol is my husband, who is a businessman. Okay, so he's good in studies. Nimit is good in studies. I'm confused whether to push him in that, uh, that and NEET and JEE and do all those things, matlab, go through all those dire conditions and all, because ultimately I don't know. I think he'll join the business. So, and I don't personally, I want him to I want to push him to his limits. कि ठीक है, you do whatever you want. ठीक है, हमारे पास बैकअप तो है, but you should explore the world and you should explore your limitations. कि आप कहाँ तक जा सकते हो. So sir, I am a bit confused what to do. Like, should I push him in that JEE? He doesn't want to be a doctor, so NEET is not a question. But if any other competitive exams or something like that.
So I will actually, it's the first and foremost, I think, pushing a child right now has become a risky business now, whether we like it or not. I mean, I'll give you an example. A few months back, we had someone coming over. Both the parents are very well-known doctors. They have their own hospital. And child was a topper of one of the most prestigious schools. And he also joined the NEET program. And then you will just imagine with this whole family setting, everything is towards medicine. Everything is set for the child. And somewhere in the month of July, which means you can imagine where the NEET preparations are at peak, the child just wants to come out of the integrated curriculum and clueless about what should he do now. Okay, and the parents obviously stressed out. So I think, if we push a child, the pressures at that end are very high. So there is a chance that the child may just raise up the hands and say ki nahi hota hai. That's a big risk now. See, we have to understand this generation. That is again one more thing I will like to tell you all.
I just have a question in this.
Yeah.
See, I have friends with two different mindsets. First is she wants her child to explore everything and decide on himself. And second one, she is saying कि अगर हमने आज उन्हें career goal set नहीं करके दिया, तो maybe after some years they'll say कि अरे mama, I was too young to decide, but at least you would have told me, so I would have done something good in my life. So I am
Yes.
confused in
No,
those both.
no, ma'am, I'll tell you what. See, this whole session has been about that it is, you take a decision. It is not about whether what you want or what the child wants. The whole thing is about what is your child most competent in. It's really not about what we want, because see, just because we want him to be in business, he's going to be a good businessman or not, we don't know. Or just because the child. So it is about what are the competencies of the child, and we as a parent facilitate so that the child says, I mean, that's the ideal process. So we facilitate, so the child says that I want to take so and so call, which has to be in line with the competencies. That alignment, if you have, you are sorting out a lot of issues that may happen in future. That is, this whole session was about that. See, it's like this, and that's where, sometimes as parents, I mean, I myself am a parent and I've got two children, and I know that when it comes to, even if I'm into this line, when it comes to my own children, there are times when, because our personal biases are very high. So I will think 100 times before giving a direct career counseling to my own children, because, my own biases come in the way. Right. But when I'm talking to a third person, I can be extremely dispassionate because I'm doing that like a duty, I mean, I will not look at whether you will feel bad or good. I will say what is good for the child's future. So like that, it's like, today the field of medicine is so widespread. But we had in the past, people used to go for home remedies. आज भी थोड़ा बहुत जाते हैं. So home remedies has a role, but if there is a major thing at stake, then we don't go for a home remedy. We go to an expert. That is my point. And I'm not even saying that, I think, today when you have a good number of career experts who can see, as a parent is giving, it's like a home remedy. It's a home remedy of choosing a career. But I am saying the stakes are very high in terms of number of years a child is spending, very high in terms of money, because lot of money is invested in educating for the entrance examinations as well as the actual education. And then then you have to educate again or do something else. Frustration, it's an emotional toll on the child and the parent. So a wrong decision takes, it's almost like eating a wrong medicine for some kind of a disease. It's like that. So I would say that, rather than getting influenced, take everyone's opinion, but just one simple thing, see if you can identify the competency of the child. And if you are not able to do that, or if you find that probably you want help on that front, take an opinion of a good career counselor. That is the best thing for your child.
So, sir, 8th standard is like, what is the grade that is perfect for taking the career counseling? Like,
whenever there is a decision making point in your career, like, wherever there is an elective choice to be made on elective subjects, that is one. Now, if you have not taken during that, then 9th, so definite. I mean, according to me, it should 9th standard, if you've not taken any career counseling, 9th standard mein to lena chahiye. Because what happens na, see, your 9th and 10th ka jo studies hota hai, generally everyone will study from an exam point of view, which is not a problem. Exams mein marks milna hi chahiye. But if you are also clear about your career, then you will study from 2 points of view. You will say that I will study from an exam point of view so that I get marks. But the career that I'm going to go for, na, uska jo related subject hai, that I will study from a much deeper fundamental perspective. तो वो अगर career medicine रहेगा, तो the way I study biology will be, I will look at a lot of extra videos, I will look at a lot of extra content on biology, because आगे जाके मेरे को नीट लिखना है, तो I cannot just focus on marks of biology. I have to really get into the fundamentals of the subject. So आप 9th में अगर क्लियर है ना, तो आपका 9th and 10th का जो पढ़ाई है, that becomes fundamentally strong in the areas of your career, which helps later on in your competitive entrance examinations. That's the advantage of doing in 9th. So 9th is the right year to do it definitely. But 8th में अगर electives का choice का board है, like SSC boards don't give that choice. Yeah, sorry, state boards. But है तो 8th standard. That's what I would say.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. Well, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I can see Payal, ma'am. You want to unmute and ask?
Yes, sir. Hello. I'm
Yeah.
actually a final year student. I'm doing computer science.
Okay.
And at first, when I was in 10th standard, I wanted to do NEET. But after some time, after the first year, 11th standard, my mind, after studying for NEET for 1 year, I thought that maybe I don't want to do it, and I left it in between. And then I went for JE in 12th standard. 1 year I studied for JE. Just after the first attempt, I felt like I didn't want to do JE as well. So I also filled my form for second attempt, but I didn't give it because I was not sure if I wanted to do it. So after that, I took computer science. The first year was really good, and because it was Corona time, so we were doing online studies. So after first year and second year, I was very interested in computer science, but just after the second year, this is my third year, I'm starting to lose interest in this as well. And now I'm interested in business studies. I don't have a commerce background, and I am doing computer science. I can say I'm interested in technical things and programming and stuff, but after doing it for a certain time, I always lose interest in everything. So this is my
No, exactly. See, Nikita ma'am, this is exactly the point that have been talking about in this whole session, that children today, actually, I mean, you have someone right in front of us now. So,
Right, sir.
so I cannot give just an offhand because this requires a little longer conversation. But because because there are two issues here. One issue is, see, again, what is happening? You are exactly doing what I said, how we choose the career and what we should not do. Like we feel, मुझे अच्छा मेडिकल अच्छा लगता है, नीट अच्छा नहीं IIT अच्छा लगता है, जेई अच्छा, कंप्यूटर अच्छा लगता है, कंप्यूटर. So वो likes keep changing because you were only 17, 18, 19 year old, and therefore you took decisions based on that limited view. But what is your competency? ये हमने काम ही नहीं किया आपने. What is, because if you would have taken a subject based on competency, the practicals, the theory, everything would have fallen in line because you would have done well in that. So we will actually have to do because see, it's like better late than never. So अभी तो of course engineering है, you are in the third year. So you have two choices technically. One is obviously to complete your 4 years and then decide.
Yes.
You will be surprised. I know someone, she did 4 years of engineering. Now, this is not a story again. This is real. 4 years of engineering. She realized, like you only, कि engineering नहीं करना है, but she realized कि उसको medicine करना है. After completing 4 years of engineering, she did a 5.5 years of medicine. Can you imagine? This is like crazy. This is crazy but true. So हमको ना क्या करना पड़ेगा? We will have to. This is not like a one answer because your entire future is at stake. We will need to get into a conversation and understand what are your competencies. That is one thing. And secondly, what is it that is disinteresting you again and again in once you find something interesting? So there is something at that also that has to be discovered and handled.
It's not that I lose interest in it, but more like I find something else very interesting, because when I was in 10th standard, I didn't know about JE, I didn't know about the technical things. So I thought that maybe NEET was a good option because everyone was doing, my friends were doing NEET. So after my friends decided to do NEET, so I was going for that. But then I realized that is something, JE is also a thing, and then we can do that. After doing JE, I realized there is something called programming and stuff. So we can get into data science, we can get into programming, game programming and stuff. So after my 12th standard, I left JE and I went for that. Now I know there is business has also good scope and business studies, and I have no commerce background, but I want to do business now. Business studies.
No. So I would just say that before now committing yourself to business studies at the post-graduation level, do a proper assessment and then do it, because again stakes. See, अभी तो graduation तो चल गया. You can do a post graduation और आप यहाँ से निकल सकते हो. But post graduation गलत हो जाता है. That's a problem. Then you have to repeat a post graduation with a different subject. That is too much of an problematic. So go through a proper career counseling process and take a call. Go through a second opinion, take a call. Because the whole process, whether it is the cost, whether it is time involved, is a very small fraction of what is 2 years of time, 4 years of time and 2-3 years का cost कितना बड़ा है. तो एक छोटा सा process करना है हमको, उसमें future becomes far more clear.
Sir, actually, I had one more question. After my graduation, I don't know if I want to pursue higher studies now. I'm going to take a job, but I'm thinking, should I simultaneously do my post graduation? And if I do post graduation, in which field should I do it?
See, Payal, that's what I'm saying, that, often I cannot answer this question like that. It is like someone is saying कि मुझे दवा चाहिए, मेरे को कौन सा दवा ले लूँ, ऐसा नहीं कर सकता मैं. Therefore, I'm saying, I'll definitely can help you out, but then you can, we need to go through a proper process. So proper जो हमारा process होता है, I will, since we are specifically saying the charges of the whole process is also 4950. Which is a little less than 5,000. मतलब मेरे हिसाब से लाखों रुपए का जो courses रहता है, so it's a well worth investment for getting clarity. So because it's something that we will have to give 5 to 6 hours for this. It's not a 2-minute answer. If I have to do justice, between you and me, we'll have to put in 5 to 6 hours together on this to get the answer.
That's okay.
So you can get in touch. You have all our. So let me know in case you want to go through the process, and then we will immediately see whether we can schedule your appointment and take it forward.
Okay.
Let me know. Thanks. Yeah. Anything? I can see one more hand raised, Ayansh. So is it that previous hand which is still raised, or you want to ask one more question?
It is previous hand. Sorry.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions you all have?
Sir, I have put it on personal chat also.
Okay, let me just see. Okay, let me just see the question then. Personal chat. Okay. It's okay. Okay, you yeah, is that Mansi ma'am who just spoke?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, will she be able to get 1 minute? Huh? Okay, you have given your okay, 1 minute. I think it's a mini chat. So you're saying your daughter has a passion for designing. She keeps doing it on paper as well as digital, and she's really good with theory, but on the other hand, she's not that good with math and science. Is it okay to drop math and science in class 9th? Will she be able to get into a good college without these major subjects? Also, which is a good designing school that we should consider? All right, fine. So first of all, if a child is dropping math and science, then some of the designing options will be cut. Like, for example, your industrial, say designing has got 4 areas typically. You've got communication design, you've got your textile, fashion and textile design. Then you have got IT integrated design. Then you've got product design. So now when it comes to product design, when it comes to when it comes to IT integrated design, when it comes to even fashion design, everywhere, maths is required. See, like if you're calculating that's the length of the cloth and all of that, I'm just making it very simple to understand. So I would definitely recommend that if you are able to manage math, I don't know what is your school board, but considering design, if you are able to manage math, nothing like it, unless of course it's like a huge pressure or things are really, really a problem and taking math is going to be a huge problem. I feel that we should keep math. That is a very generic view. Again, I'm saying, it's a big decision. If you want really specific, then I will have to do it one-on-one. But at a generic level, I feel that we should avoid dropping math for a designing career. Because see, designing is not only about aesthetics and beauty, it's also about calculations, it's about symmetry, it's about distances, all of that. Right? So that is a generic answer. Now, as far as science goes, again, well, you are After 12th, see, after 10th, for some program like, product design or industrial design, these programs require a 12th science. They need you to be in 12th science. But if you are in 12th commerce or humanities, it's okay for a few other programs. So that way, science to chal sakta hai, aapne drop kiya to, but then you know that you are limiting your options. You're consciously taking that call. And therefore, if you have to keep options, so my point is very simple. I mean, I've seen both types of children. Okay, those who keep science option just for the sake of it, कि मुझे कुछ भी बाद में छोड़ूंगा मैं, but 10 तक मैं रखूंगा. ऐसे रहता है. And then they are very clear that okay, if I have to, थोड़ा बहुत suffering होगा मेरे को, but मैं करूंगा science. That's one approach. It's a safe approach where the intention of the child has to be very strong, that I may be bad at it, but I know I'm going to keep it till 10th just because मुझे बाद में अगर चाहिए तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. That is one approach. See, for all you know, like I was telling you, you may have get a great tuition teacher in 9th and 10th or a great school teacher, and the whole view may change. But if the child has like let the guard ki ekdam tension aa raha hai, pressure aa raha hai, very sensitive child, then of course we want to play safe. So like I'm saying, it's a generic answer. Clear?
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Now your second question was which are the good places. So again, I would say, okay, the best places for doing designing in India would be NIDs, NIFT, and IITs. IITs have got a solid design program in 4 of the IITs. Then NID has got 3 campuses, solid, best designing programs, and NIFT, very good programs, especially for fashion. So these are the best ones. And after your 10th, so abhi se na aap kya karo na? Aap abhi se you encourage her to start building her portfolio from now only. Small things she can start doing a lot from now. Elementary, intermediate, so I'm sure she would have probably appeared for. But get into that mindset and start making your profile. And I mean, there are a lot of ways of improving creativity. So, sab karna chahiye.
Thank you
Color
so
sense, etc. Yeah. So get that fundamental. Well, 9th, 10th, mein na, don't keep it only marks of 9th, 10th. 9th, 10th, mein, now that you are looking at designing, na, prepare her in 9th and 10th from that perspective. And
Sir,
by
my
the way,
question is,
I want to also tell you one more thing of why maths and science is an advantage. See, one of the programs called Masters in Design at a PG level has got a subject called Strategic Design Management, or it's also called interdisciplinary design. So in interdisciplinary design or strategic design management, it's again interdisciplinary where it's a combination of scientific processes or environment, etc. So by and large, a math and science by and large will help. That's the point.
sir, I'm just worried that the aggregate score might affect getting into colleges. So I'm just a little holding back in that manner.
Yeah, these are, this is a very typical dilemma. But I cannot really say more because I don't know your child. Therefore, I cannot say more. But if you want anything more, then we can connect on a one-on-one.
Sure, sir.
But otherwise, I think at best at a generic level, this is what I can give.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, Dhwani ma'am. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So my son, he is very good at maths and science, and not only like college, the school examinations, but also when it goes to competitive exams, the Olympiads, he's always getting selected for the second levels, and he gets a good score in that. Plus, he is very inquisitive. All his teachers tell that he keeps on asking us too many questions. Full time, he has like inquisitive mind, kind I can say.
Right.
He is good at art also. But he doesn't draw by himself, as in he goes to a class wherein he can easily manage copying stuff and doing art, the freehand stuff, the watercolor paintings and all. So what would you suggest for him as a career?
What is he right now doing? He's in which
He's
standard?
in ninth. He's in ninth.
See, if
As
he's
in
good,
he's in eighth right now, going to ninth.
going to 9th. See,
Yeah, and he
okay.
always tells me that he wants to do some business, do some designing work and do something like that. He doesn't want to stick to a job, definitely not, because he is not those kinds, who would work under somebody. He would do a job for, for his finances and stuff, which he wants initially, and then he wants to set up his own business. But in what field and regarding what, he is not very sure.
Wow. So this reminds me of one of my students from Dubai, who very, very similar profile, like lot of clarity and lot of, and multiple talents, etc. See, some very basic suggestions I'll give you right now, because again, like, so the same reason. So basic suggestions are, he is very good in maths and science. We know that for sure. So it is very clear that 9th and 10th standard, he should not only keep the subjects, but he should also study them from a fundamental perspective. That's because one can definitely get into the IITs and the NITs of the world after 12th standard, in case one wants to get into design after 12th. So, or you can, do the other route of designing is engineering design. In an engineering design, you are doing your engineering and then you are designing, so it could be designing of, it could be computers, it could be mechanical, etc. And, for example, today, if you look at automobile engineering, like cars not only require high level of engineering design, but they also require a high level of aesthetic design, the styling. I mean, the styling of a car, today you see the cars look so beautiful, right? So it is not just the engineering part. So, but then you need the engineering knowledge. So therefore, then you could be a designer from an engineering side. So what we've got to do is, till the 10th standard, my suggestion would be you encourage him to to focus on math, science, and visual art subjects. If you are taken, which board it is, I don't know, but visual art or drawing.
He's in ICSE. And
ICSE.
he's planning to take commercial applications in group 3 because he wants a basic of business also.
See, you have to also tell him that basic of business can be learned after easily. It is not necessary. Matlab, it is a good idea to learn, but then if he is, do you have any art related subject?
Yeah, we have arts. Yes, we have arts.
But it is not very intensive, right? Like an art and design is very intensive. Just see what is that subject. And yeah, we need to look at that, because see, commercial applications, business, to aram se kabhi bhi sikh sakta hai after 10th, 11th, 12th. But these fundamental subjects, now they require more practice. Business सीखने के लिए practice नहीं लगता है. Theoretical business subject as a subject. But a theoretical, art requires practice. And the best thing is your school level. That's what I feel, based on very limited, this is a very limited information I have, and I've given a very limited thing. I mean, this cannot be perfect, but broadly I'm giving you this. It's a very broad suggestion.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yes. Anything else? Yeah. All right. Great. So I think I don't think there are any more questions. So thank you all. I mean, you've been around for a very long time. So I want to thank all of you all for coming for the session and being with us. So thank you very much. And if you need any help, any support, if you want to go through any kind of one-on-one sessions, feel free to get in touch with us. And we ourselves, we also keep sharing information. I mean, we have a career group where we intend to share a lot of information on careers, etc. So I will send a personal message to all of you all, whether you would get added to a group where we will be sending career information. So if you say yes, then I will add you to the group. And plus for any information on careers or any of our programs that we do, etc., so that I will individually interact with you on the message. So thank you very much. I had a good time. Bye.